Okay, so Bacho, if you remember the last few classes, we were consistently talking about moles, and moles, and you must need to remember all the type of the formula that we discussed in the last few classes, and you need to have a difference between that formula as well, because if the mass is given for you, then we need to use mass over mr to find out moles. This is the first formula which is very important to remember. So all you guys need to understand this, that this is we can use when we have mass given with us, right? And then if the volume of gases are given to you, right, you need to keep remember this. If the volume of gases, right, I'm emphasizing on this because volume of gases and the volume of solutions are always there for you to disturb, right? So keep remember this, whenever the volume of gases are there, so you need to use this formula, right? This is only for the volume for gases. If it is in centimeter cube, so you need to divide it by 1000, 24,000, so it will be like number of moles formula. And if it is the volume is in decimeter cube, so you just simple divide it by 24, it will give you the number of moles. And recently in the last class we were talking about the formula of moles when the concentration and the volume is also given to you for solutions. And if the volume is in centimeter cube, so you must need to divide it by 1000 and then multiply with concentration, so you get number of moles of that solution, right? It is the volume for solution. You need to keep remember this whenever they ask about solution. So there will be you can say that concentration and volume together over there, right? You need to keep remember these things. And also if the volume is in decimeter cubes, you don't need to divide it by 1000, just simple multiply concentration with the volume, right? These are the three formulae that we discussed in the last few classes. And now we are moving towards the new one, which is actually for the number of atoms. This is actually for the number of atoms. This is the formula to find out the number of atoms. We have one scientist. The name of that scientist is Avogadro. He told us that 1 mole of any substance, 1 mole of any substance always have 6.02 10 raised to the power 23 number of particles. Number of particles. They told us about number of particles. I'm not using the word number of atoms. I'm not using the word number of molecules. I'm not using the word number of ions. I am saying that this is number of particles. So it's all depend on the 1 mole of which substance. For suppose if you have 1 mole of atom, then these are actually number of atoms. And these are actually number of atoms. If you have 1 mole of molecule, then these are actually number of molecules, right? And if you have 1 mole of compound, then these are actually 1 mole of ions then, right, bacho? So particles are 3 types we have: atom, molecules, and ions. So whatever you have, ये number of particles फिर उस हिसाब से होंगे, तो जो आपको given होगा. Yes, every one of you. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we are going to start this with the first example. You can see this in the first example, that what we have in the first example, we have 23 gram of sodium atom. So you can see this, what we have actually 23 grams of sodium atom. So definitely if you find moles of this and then you multiply it with 6.02, so it gives you what? It gives you number of atoms, because actually you have what? Atoms. अगर आपके पास atoms हैं तो फिर आप number of atoms निकाल सकते हो. अगर आपके पास molecules हैं तो फिर आप 6.02 10 raised to the power 23 से multiply करके molecules निकालते हो. ठीक है ना? वो बात अलग है, उसके बाद आप atoms अलग से निकाल सकते हैं. So let's see what we need to do. The formula is simple. If you want to find out number of particles, so what you need to do, we know that 1 mole containing 6.02 10 raised to the power 23 number of particles. So if you have 5 moles of, if you have 6 moles, or if you have 10 moles, so you can simply multiply the that number, that constant number, with the number of moles. So the formula is very simple: moles into Avogadro constant. This is actually the Avogadro constant, and it is represented by capital L. Right, so you can simply multiply this number with the number of moles to get the number of particles. So right now we have atom, so it will definitely give you the number of atoms if you multiply it with Avogadro constant. But for this, we should have what? We should have number of moles, but right now this is mass. And we all know that if we have mass, so how can we find out moles from mass? Yes, any one of you. If we have mass, how can we find out the number of moles of this 23 grams of sodium? How can we find out the number of moles of this?
Mass is equals to moles into mol.
No, we already have mass. You can see this in the question. We already have. We want moles.
Mol is equals to mass over mr.
Yes. So the simple is this. We actually have we need to find out moles of this sodium atoms. So it will be mass over mr, right? It is mass over mr. So if you have 23 gram mass and the mr of sodium is also 23, so it will give you what? 1 mole of this. 1 mole aa gaya aapke paas. If you have 1 mole, so you can simply find out number of particles. And right now we have atoms, so we can find out number of atoms. So number of atoms will be moles into Avogadro constant, and the mole is right now 1, and the Avogadro constant is always 6.02 10 raised to the power 23. So actually right now in 1 mole of sodium, we always have 6.02 10 raised to the power 23 number of atoms. Got it, bacho?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
This
sir.
is all.
Clear.
Right, sir.
You need
Right,
to
sir.
keep remember कि अगर आपके पास 1 मोल एटम का है तो फिर आप नंबर ऑफ एटम्स होते हैं वो अगर आप 6.02 10 raised to the power 23 से मल्टीप्लाई कराते हो, अगर आपके पास 1 मोल मॉलिक्यूल का होगा तो फिर आप 6.02 10 raised to the power 23 से मल्टीप्लाई कराओगे तो आपके पास नंबर ऑफ मॉलिक्यूल्स आएंगे. ठीक है ना, ये आपने याद रखना है. अब आप देखें आपके पास क्या आ गया, अब क्लोरीन एटम आ गया, ये हाइड्रोजन गैस आ गया तीसरा. तो डेफिनेटली सेकंड वाला सेम है, आप इजीली कर सकते हो. थर्ड वाला मैं आपको कराता हूँ कि थर्ड वाला कैसे करेंगे. दिस इज द फर्स्ट वन, राइट? ये हो गया हमारे पास फर्स्ट वन. लेट्स टॉक अबाउट द थर्ड वन. If you talk about the third one, बच्चों, just look at over there. It is actually 2 grams of hydrogen gas. Hydrogen gas is what? Hydrogen gas is actually molecule. This is actually molecule. So first of all, we must have moles for this. So let's see the number of moles over here. We can find out moles by mass over mr, right? And we know that hydrogen gas is actually H2, right? So the mass is actually 2 grams, right? And the mr of hydrogen gas is also 2 because it is 1 into 2, right? So it is 2 over 2 to give you the number of moles will be 1 mole of hydrogen gas, right? Yes, bacho?
Ji, right, sir.
You need to keep remember this when you have molecules, so when you multiply the number of moles with Avogadro constant, so it will give you the number of molecules, not atoms. So now if we are going to find out the number of particles, so these particles are actually the number of molecules. So if you multiply moles with Avogadro constant, so it will give you number of molecules, right, bacho?
Yes,
We
sir.
have 6.02
Right.
10 to the power 23
Right, sir.
number of molecules. We have actually 10 raised to the power 23 number of molecules of hydrogen gas. But you can see in the question, they are asking for what? In the question, they are asking for number of atoms, right? So we need to find out number of atoms over here. So it's very simple. Just look at over there. How many atoms are there in one mole of hydrogen gas? We have 2 atoms, right?
Yes, sir. Right. Yes, sir.
In one mole you have 2 atoms. So if you want to find out the number of molecule in these number of molecules, you just need to multiply it with the 2. So if you want to find out number of atom, तो आप क्या करें, सिंपल इस पूरे आंसर को आप मल्टीप्लाई करा दें किससे बच्चों? 2 से, बिकॉज एक मोल में जब 2 एटम है तो फिर आप किसी भी मोल्स में निकाल सकते हैं. अगर मैं आपसे पूछूं फॉर एग्जांपल आपके पास 1 मोल है और उसके अंदर 2 एटम्स हैं, तो 5 मोल में कितने होंगे? आप बोलेंगे 10. अगर मैं आपसे बोलूंगा 10 में कितने होंगे तो आप बोलेंगे 20. तो व्हाट यू आर डूइंग, एक्चुअली यू आर मल्टीप्लाइंग द सिंगल मॉलिक्यूल एटम्स विद द होल मॉलिक्यूल. सो दिस इज सेम. आपके पास एक मॉलिक्यूल में 2 एटम्स हैं तो टोटल मॉलिक्यूल्स में कितने होंगे? मल्टीप्लाई बाय 2. सो व्हाट विल बी द आंसर ऑफ दिस बच्चों? इट शुड बी somewhere 12.04 10 raised to the
12.04 into 10 raised to power 23.
Yes, this is the answer. And if you want to write in the next in this form, for suppose 1.204 10 raised to the power 24, so it is also acceptable, right, every one of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
सर ये जो सेकंड
जी,
वाला
right.
सवाल है तो सर उसमें हम लोग
क्योंकि क्लोरीन एटम की बात हुई है तो हम जो MR लेंगे वो 35.5 होगा ना सर, क्योंकि मतलब कि कहीं गैस की बात नहीं।
बिल्कुल ऐसी करेंगे आप, बिल्कुल ऐसी करेंगे।
ठीक है सर।
ठीक है बच्चों, so
Right,
these
sir.
are the rest of the questions we have, almost they all are same and मैं एक और सवाल आपके लिए कर देता हूँ. So just look at over there in this question, it is ethane gas. ethane gas आपके पास होती है C2H6. You need to consider this in organic chemistry. This is ethane gas. Once you done with organic chemistry, you definitely know about this then. All right, let's see if we talk about this one. So 90 over, if we divide 90 by the MR of this, the MR is actually 24 plus 6, it is 30. So actually we have 3 moles, right? We have 3 moles, and if we want to find out the number of molecules, so we can multiply moles with Avogadro constant. So it will give you what, bacho? It will give you number of molecules. But if you want to find out number of atoms, so we can see this, that we have 8 atoms in a single molecule. So we can also multiply it with 8 in this step as well. You can find out directly number of atoms by this, right, bacho?
Yes sir, right.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
सर ये एक दफा दोबारा बता देंगे?
Yes, you can see this, that actually we know that कि अगर आपको number of molecules find out करने तो simple the moles into Avogadro constant, right? But अगर आपको number of atoms find out करने तो आप उस moles को Avogadro constant से multiply कराओगे तो molecule आएंगे, फिर molecule को पर molecule के atoms से multiply कराओगे तो total atoms आएंगे, ठीक है ना? तो एक molecule में 2 कार्बन और 6 हाइड्रोजन है, यानी आपके पास 8 एटम्स हैं,
8 एटम।
8 एक मॉलिक्यूल में. तो टोटल मॉलिक्यूल में कितने एटम्स होंगे? मल्टीप्लाई टोटल वॉल्यूम्स विद द नंबर ऑफ एटम्स इन ईच मॉलिक्यूल.
ओके सर,
इट विल गिव यू द नंबर ऑफ एटम्स. Got it, every one of you?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir, got it.
Okay, so you need to complete the rest of the questions. These are 7 questions to complete the 3 marks question, right? First of all, you need to find out moles, then you need to find out relation, and then you need to find out what? You need to find out whatever you want to, right? So for suppose if I have a question like this, that I have calcium carbonate and it is reacting with HCl, so it is going to form what? Calcium chloride, carbon dioxide, and water molecule, right? Just look at over there, bacho. This is one of the question. For suppose I just give you what? I just give you 175 gram calcium carbonate. And just look at over here, what I'm asking. I am asking for the mass of calcium chloride. I am asking what? I am asking volume in decimeter cube of carbon dioxide. And I am asking for the number of atoms in water molecules, right? So you can find anything, right? What you need to do, you just need to do the thing that I told you to do, the 3 steps. 3 steps. You need to do what? The only 3 steps to complete all these parts. These are actually not one question. This is actually 3 different questions. So I'm just going to do this in 3 different columns. So you need to understand this. कि भाई मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ. ठीक है, so in this column, I need to solve what? For mass of calcium chloride. In this column, I need to solve for the volume of carbon dioxide. And in the last column, I need to solve this for the number of particles. So over here, what I need to find out, I need to find out mass of calcium chloride. And over here, I need to find out the volume of carbon dioxide gas. You need to keep remember this is gas. And over here, we need to find out number of atoms. Right, so we know that we need to go through 3 steps. The first step is always the number of moles. And you need to keep remember for this, what you have right now, you have mass. So you can apply the formula mass over MR, right? So if you apply the formula mass over MR, we have 175 mass, and the MR of calcium carbonate is, calcium is 40, carbon is 12, and oxygen is 16 into 3. So it will give you 100, the MR, right? So we can do this, 175 over 100 will give you the number of moles that are 1.75 moles, right, bacho?
You're right, sir.
And these are actually the number of moles of calcium carbonate. These are actually the number of moles of calcium carbonate, but we need to find out the mass of calcium chloride. So if you want to find out the mass of calcium chloride, so you must have the moles of calcium chloride, because you need to find out the mass of calcium chloride. So that is why we need to do a second step, which is relation. We know that what we need to do in relations, we always need to do relation for required and given. So what is given to you? What is given to you? It is calcium carbonate. And what is required from you? It is calcium chloride. And according to equation, they both have the same number of relation. If you have 1 mole of calcium carbonate, so definitely 1 mole of calcium chloride will be produced. So if the ratio is same, so definitely you will have the same answer in moles as well. So if it is 1.75, so it must be 1.75. So now what you have actually moles of calcium chloride. You have moles of calcium chloride as well. Now this is like a piece of cake for you to find out the mass. We know that how can we find out mass, bacho? If you want to find out mass, so we should multiply moles with MR. We need to find out the mass of calcium chloride. So definitely we need to use the MR of calcium chloride, and definitely we need to use the moles of calcium chloride. So right now we have moles of calcium chloride, which is 1.75. And what is the MR of calcium chloride? It is 40 plus 35.5 into 2. It will give you 71 and then 111. So let's see, bacho, what is the mass of calcium chloride produced? It will be 111 into 1.75. It will give you 194.25 gram calcium chloride. Yes, bacho, is that right or not?
Yes, sir. Right. Clear.
Yeah, right. Sir.
Just look at there. What you need to do, आपके पास सिर्फ mass of calcium carbonate था, and you can easily find out calcium chloride mass. So this technique is very much important in industries, very important. If you have 50 tons of something, so you know that how much the product can be formed. So this is very useful technique in industries. Okay. Then again, second part, this is the same thing. We know that हमारे पास given क्या है, calcium carbonate, so we need to find out the moles, and it is exactly same. So the moles of calcium carbonate are, calcium carbonate के moles आपके पास आ गया 1.75. Again, you need to apply the relation for the moles of carbon dioxide. When you apply relation, so it is again calcium carbonate and carbon dioxide, because the required is now carbon dioxide. And again, the equation shows the relation is same. So whatever number of moles of calcium carbonate you have, exactly the same number of moles of carbon dioxide produced. The third thing that you need to do is the volume in decimeter cube of any gas. We know that if we want to find out the volume of any gas in decimeter cube, so we need to multiply moles with 24. That is always constant, right? So it is 1.75 into 24. So if you multiply this like in this way, so it will give you what answer? Let's see. It is 24 into 1.75 will give you 42 decimeter cube volume, right, bacho?
Right.
And then the last part, again, it is same. The number of moles of calcium carbonate is same, that we already find it out, right? The number of moles of water is also same, because the relation of water and calcium carbonate is 1:1 equation. So it is also same. Then we need to find out the number of water atoms, right? Atoms, number of atoms in water molecules. So water is actually molecules. So first of all, we need to find out the number of molecules. Then we need to find out number of atoms. So number of molecules will always be like number of moles into Avogadro constant. So it is actually 1.75 into 6.02 10 raised to the power 23. So in this way, the answer will be 1.75 into 6.02. So it is 10.535 10 raised to the power 23. These are actually number of molecules, because we need to find out atoms. So we know that in a single molecule of water, we have 3 atoms. So we can find out number of atom as well by multiplying the answer with 3. So we need to multiply answer with 3. So it will give you 3.16 10 raised to the power 24. Is it right, every one of you?
Yes,
right,
sir.
sir.
All clear,
Any
sir. All
problem?
clear.
Any
No,
problem? देखें, आप कुछ भी निकाल सकते हैं. एक चीज थी आपके पास, सिर्फ एक चीज, दैट इज द मास ऑफ कैल्शियम कार्बोनेट. उसके बाद आपने ये भी निकाल लिया कितना मास बनेगा, आपने ये भी निकाल लिया कितनी गैस बनेगी, आपने ये भी निकाल लिया कि कितने एटम्स होंगे एट द एंड व्हेन वाटर फॉर्म. तो देखें आप कितना कुछ निकाल सकते हैं सिर्फ एक रिएक्टेंट से. एंड दिस टेक्निक इज नोन एज स्टोइकियोमेट्री. राइट, एवरी वन ऑफ यू?
Yes, sir. Right.
Yes, sir.
So this is all
Right.
about moles, and I think so you all can do all type of questions. Let's see, can
All
you solve
clear, sir.
a question like this? For suppose the question is same, but the given condition is now changed. Just look at over there, bacho. I am giving you now HCl. I am giving you something about HCl, so the relation is going to be changed now, right? So for suppose if you have 50 centimeter cube of 1.05 mole per decimeter cube hydrochloric acid. So can you find out the mass of calcium chloride produced by this chloride, sorry, and the volume in decimeter cube of carbon dioxide produced and the number of atoms in water produced?
Yes,
Can you?
sir.
The only
Yes,
thing
sir,
which
we
is
can
going to
find.
change is the type of formula that we need to use over here for the number of moles, and then the relation is now changed because it is 2:1 with every product, right, everyone?
Ji sir, right.
Okay, so say Bismillah and start this question, and hopefully you will do correct this. Just start this quickly.
आपको